La la la. Hey, everybody. Welcome once again to Nerds with Alcohol. And I am Russ.
And I'm Chris.
And this is episode 215. 215, back in the virtual nerd basement, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again. It's good to see a CD or Sea Dog.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back during this winter wonderland that we are experiencing here.
Yeah, I wish I could blame the weather on us being late tonight, but it was because of technical difficulties just yet again. This is
what a surprise. Yes.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. We're here now, and even if we're late,
it's been a hell of a day, dude. I mean,
I've had bad day.
I mean, between getting like 8 inches of snow and all my stuff, I had a really stressful day at work. So
sorry to hear.
And I'm on call, so I could be getting a call. I could get a notification at any second to where I have to go work. So
if that happens, ladies and gentlemen, we will go into heat wave coming. I don't think so, CD. We got a while.
No, actually, it's supposed to be above. Starting Monday, it's supposed to be above freezing for like the next week.
Yeah, and then it dips down again. It's I mean, I think we're screwed until like a couple of like a week into March or something. I thought I saw Stella looked at it at the weather earlier, and she said something to the effect of like we're in the teens for quite a while. Like, so
it's just weird that we're in the 20s for the next few days, and then
like, well, there's it
for
goes
my anniversary. It's supposed to be like 39. I mean,
ho ho ho, balmy.
Well, it's about 15 degrees cooler than it was the day that we actually got married. Renee wanted a white wedding, and as far as like, she wanted like the snow and stuff like that, and
right.
It shot up to 53 degrees for our wedding day, but it had snowed like 6 inches 2 days before. So in all of our pictures, it is like snow covered like crazy all around us. But we were not uncomfortable out there without like heavy coats on and stuff because it was actually kind of warm. It was.
Man. If you can get it, then if you can take it, then that's what you do, on a nice day, right now in Hazel Park it says it is -4 degrees.
Yeah.
That's
I saw that was
holy
supposed to be
shit.
low today.
Tomorrow, looking at 20, 26, 29, 28, 31, 35 for Monday, next Monday, 38 for next Tuesday. These are the highs, by the way. 38 for next Tuesday, a week from tonight, 36, 34, 35. So, we may be after today, well, let's say Friday, Friday or Saturday, we're over the hump, I guess, of some of this colder stuff and back into a maybe, we're still, the lows are still in the low to mid 20s, but at least the highs are like, mid 30s to low 40s. So, it's still cold. We're still got a lot more time of winter. A lot of people tend to forget that winter doesn't actually officially start until almost the end of December. So right before Christmas.
Yep. And spring doesn't start till almost the end of March.
Right. Exactly. Is it end of March or early April?
End of March. April.
It is end of March. It is end of March.
March 19th through 21st.
Right. You're right. Because yes, traditionally, the last few years, I've been in Florida. We've had like last day of winter or first day of spring at the Ren Fair, so or during fair, so it's good. But I tell you, man, I am missing Florida.
Yeah, I'm betting that you're really missing Florida right now with getting all that snow last night and having to dig out.
When I woke up this morning and I looked outside, and this like some guy came to the porch and was like, "Hey, man, you want me to shovel your walk?" And I'm like, "Oh, thanks. Anyway, the neighbor has a service. He usually does it." And he did. Somebody did it. Like Steve did his house, my house, and then the house next to me on the other side. And so it was really nice. Just kind of snow blowed the sidewalk. I still had to get out today and at least shovel the apron of my driveway so that Stella can get actually into the driveway and out. And I did slip and fall and land on my back. So that was awesome. I can imagine that if anybody was watching it from else inside their house and possibly videoing it, it probably was really funny.
Yeah, we had about 2.5 to 3 feet drifts between like the house and my car, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
about 3 feet at the end of the driveway from the plow.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. We got 6 to 8. I know this is exciting for everybody listening,
Yeah.
but we got 6 to 8 inches overnight, and that's a lot. There's a lot
Yeah.
of snowfall overnight, and then it was also very, very windy.
I'll tell you what, I missed working for the college today.
Yeah, because you get called off.
Yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Did you see CD's thing? Snow piled up about 7 feet.
Yeah, he's out in like, aren't you out in like Wisconsin or something? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. Michigan gets some crazy snow, but there are other states that are way worse than us. Minnesota, some of the even more Central American,
just
Central
Grand
US.
Rapids.
Oh man, so it's the lake effect, you know. I mean, we are kind of in the under the dome of Detroit. That kind of helps us kind of scare away some of the worst.
Well, and I think actually the lake being close by helps too, because it keeps it regulates the temperature a little bit better. But
right, and then you get like poor Chicago, they get hammered too.
Yep.
But let's not dwell on the weather. How was the rest of your week, man?
It wasn't bad. I mean, we had our game Friday night.
Yes, we did. A great time.
That was a good time.
A lot of RP.
And more RP. But I mean, you guys had 5 sessions in a row of straight dungeon crawls.
Oh
so
for sure.
2 games in a row of almost all RP isn't too bad.
Oh yeah, no, for real. I mean, I kidded. I was mostly kidding at the end of the game when I was like, "Hey, can we have some combat next time?" Because I do feel like, you know, you don't want to go too long without some combat, you know, some fighting and stuff, because it is still a D&D game, and you still want to be entertaining. It's still fun.
And I just watched Critical Role, and I think they had their like hiatus shortly before this, and they haven't really had a fight in like months, they're saying. So they're all trying. They all like forgot how to even play their characters.
Well, what episode are you on?
112, I think.
Okay, so you got a while. They just did 124, I think, the other day. So you got about 12. So they did their hiatus. I think they were on a break, and then they came back.
Yeah, they had some unexpected adulting for a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
where they found where they went back to Molly's grave, and then ended it there with the scrying, and and then we're off for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, and then they were off for about 2 weeks, right after the holiday, or right before Christmas, I think it is, and then they came back, you know, to early January and stuff. So yeah, they've only been 6 weeks in since they had a little holiday break. Yeah, and so I'm actually 2 episodes behind myself.
Renee's completely caught up. She's watching campaign 1.
Yes, I'm hoping she's enjoying it, because it is really great.
I think they just finished the whole Craghammer thing.
Oh, okay. So she's still near the beginning.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Tiberius is still with them, and
okay. Yeah, he's only in the first like 25 episodes.
Yep.
So she's still kind of in the beginning there. Yeah. I mean, it's some great stuff, particularly once you get into the Briarwood arc and some of the
which is the next arc, actually.
Yeah, it is. And that's what largely the first season of the cartoon is going to be.
Yep. And then you get into the Chroma Conclave after that. So
yeah, and that's a long
Yeah, that's the one I'm on. I'm actually on that now. They just got done with Grog's old clan.
Man, I tell you, they did some really great stuff. I mean, there was some really great like personal character growth and some really, really awesome stuff. With each character had so many great jumps, man. Some really, really fun stuff. Really, really great development of those characters. And honestly, I loved how they ended it too. I'm not gonna say anything, but you know, they did some really great after the show ended, they did a couple of epilogues that was just awesome. These are so great, you know.
Well, I don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole, but so we had the game Friday night, and other than that, my weekend was quiet. My D&D game on Saturday got canceled. The guy that runs it had some family stuff he had to take care of, so we weren't able to play.
Right.
Freaking, adulting getting in the way of game time.
But CD does say Lower Wisconsin.
Yeah.
CD, send us some cheese, man. Send me some nice Wisconsin cheddar. That'd be really great.
Yeah, I had somebody. I did the Sunday Morning Star Wars, and one of our viewers was on there.
Oh.
I forget his name. It's like Brew Guy Connecticut or something like that. CT. He's offered to send us stuff before.
Hey man, yeah.
And
people wants to send us booze and
well, the thing is that I don't know how to do it because I don't think it's actually legal to send stuff through. I don't think UPS will do alcohol.
Probably not. I don't know.
I think it's actually illegal to ship it over state lines.
They could send us other things though. If CD wanted to send me some cheese, I'm sure he could mail me some cheese. I love cheese.
But
okay.
But yeah, other than that though, my week was just fine.
We also had Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's Day? Did you guys do anything special?
We don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's a Hallmark holiday. All right.
Well, even so, I've never been a fan of it myself, but Stella really likes it. So we and this is our first Valentine's Day together. Honestly, I mean, most of the time the entire time I've been down in Florida since we started dating during this time of years. So, excuse me, we've never been able to enjoy Valentine's Day together. So
I'm still not sure how it is that Valentine's Day became the Lover's Day, because I mean Saint Valentine was a martyr who was
apparently what he did was he delivered love notes to from like political prisoners to their loved ones or something. I guess that's what Stella had said, and he was martyred for it, I guess. I made dinner. I made a nice dinner. I actually cooked a couple of things from the Elder Scrolls cookbook. Again, I made another leek and cheese crostata that I made before. A little too much butter this time around. I made a strawberry tart. Once again, Shielgorath's strawberry tart. It was really good. Yeah, I was actually pretty pleased with myself. And I made a potato cheddar soup that was really, really thick and hearty and turned out really great. I was actually really pleased with my cooking attempts for this thing. And then and we bought each other some stuff. And it was nice.
Cool. Well, I actually just looked up St. Valentine, and he actually Claudius the Cruel, who was the emperor of Rome at the time. It's around 270 AD. Emperor Claudius II. He had banned all marriages and engagements in Rome, and Valentine actually defied him and performed marriages for people. So
I knew it was something to do with like something. I mean, he had something to do with love and something that's why he's honored. And I think the giving out of Valentines was something that he also did. Like he said, he would deliver messages to people that weren't supposed to. And
he was condemned by the prefect of Rome to be beaten to death with clubs and to have his head cut off.
Jesus Christ. It's rough, man. Man, they certainly had creative ways of killing people back then.
Yeah.
So other than game and Valentine's Day, I had about a similar kind of week, and nothing jumped out and freaked me out or anything, Did a little grocery shopping, did some typical kind of working around the house stuff, trying to get some drawing in. I'm still having a tough time, I mean, I don't know how much I've shared. I can't remember how much I've shared with you guys, but about it. But I gotta say, I mean, this last year has really been hard on me creatively. I've had a tough time. I think it's the pandemic coupled with just the state of the world is really affecting me psychologically, and I'm having a tough time sometimes. But I get by. I'm getting there. I'm getting through it. But it's definitely affects me and how I work and artistically anyway. So but I did get some video gaming in, which we're going to talk about, and it's just nice to be back in the chair. This morning I did have a nice a friend of mine, I had mentioned it, my friend Devin is creating a content for her page. She is a therapist, and she's also a nerd girl, and is trying to create kind of draw the conclusions or draw connections between nerd culture and mental health. And so she asked me to kind of be her comic book expert and talk about comic book stuff. And so that was pretty cool. And so we sat down for about an hour and a half today and talked comic books and talked about, specifically, I talked about the miniseries Heroes in Crisis, which was a DC miniseries from 2 years ago that dealt specifically with superheroes dealing with PTSD and trauma. So
I have the first couple issues of that because I was going to collect it, and then I kind of fell off the bandwagon again and forgot about it and never got the rest of the series.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool book. It was it had a lot. Tom King wrote a hell of a story, and it was very different because it wasn't a bunch of superheroes getting together to fight some cosmic menace. It was them getting together to try and, they had to solve a murder, obviously, too, of what happens in the sanctuary. But it also deals a lot with, overcoming incredible trauma. So, and whatnot. So it was really something else. I will say,
and some jumping to conclusions and
yeah, for sure. So I want to. I talked to her today about. I think she'd be a great guest to have on the show sometime, and she's totally about it. Little cross promotion there and stuff. And so yeah, we'll talk about some times when we can do that, and everything, and when it would be like specifically because she is a therapist, so it'd be kind of nice to maybe we can bring her in and on some subjects about mental health and talk about nerd culture and mental health. So what are you drinking?
I am drinking a lovely beverage that Renee brought me. I'm drinking it in a beer glass, but it is a beautiful, like, dark ruby red color. It is, sticking to the napkin is what it is. Fleur de Bees.
Fleur de Bees?
Yeah, I figured this was kind of appropriate. Today is Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, Punchki Day, whatever you want.
Ironically, a lot of people who would normally be getting up really early today to go to bakeries to get punchkis weren't able to because of the storm.
They were still getting up early. They just weren't going to get they were working off the calories, not putting them in. Yeah, that's the one thing, man. Punchkis, that's a freaking week's worth of calories in one donut.
It is crazy.
But it's this is by Bee Nectar, and there's the very, very Mardi Gras-esque. It is a honey pineapple wine with cherry and lime, aged in rum barrels for 2 months.
Nice. Nice.
Pull out your beads and parade in the streets. Bee Nectar is going to rock you like a hurricane with this classic NOLA-inspired drink. It wasn't exactly voodoo magic that created this spectacular concoction, but the love of the craft and an ensemble of talented artists. Like a spirited jazz melody, the improvisation on honey wine composes a complex harmony of flavors, conjuring the Big Easy in a bottle. Collect your Mardi Gras throws and indulge in the sweet nectar. Then the last part's in French, and I'm going to mispronounce the hell out of it if I try it.
Okay. So. Yeah, maybe not a great idea. I took French.
It is. I did too. I took a year of French, but it's. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try it. So anyway, 16.8%. Wow,
nice.
So it's
a wine.
It's a still mead. So I mean,
still mead.
It has a lot of fruit aroma. I mean, it's very, very fruity. And you can even get a little bit of that hint of like a little bit of the alcohol aroma.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's I don't describe wines and stuff as well as I do beers usually, but there's definitely a lot of the fruit. I get some of the cherry and the lime is there. It's actually really good. It's got that little bit of warmth, that little love feeling that warm love feeling that goes down your esophagus as you drink. Sure. But yeah, I really like this. It is absolutely delicious. It is a little It's a little on the sweet side, but it's not like cloyingly sweet.
Okay.
It doesn't like cling to your mouth and give you that.
That's the risk with pineapple sometimes, is like the excessive sweetness that can come from
I
pineapple.
love pineapple personally. I mean, I don't get a lot of the pineapple. That's definitely an undertone.
Hmm.
But I don't. It's not like a punch. It's
Okay.
a really good blend of the fruits to where none of them are like stepping up and being like, I'm cherry or I'm lime or I'm pineapple. They all blend really well together to give you like this whole other flavor. So it's actually really good.
Okay. Cool. Sounds great.
So yeah, so if you can find it, Fleur de Bees by Bee Nectar.
It's a limited time kind of thing, or
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure,
well, I
but
would imagine. I mean, they probably didn't make a huge batch of that.
yeah, it's in the smaller bottles. So
Right. So that's a drag about that. So Bean Nectar makes some really great meads, but they're always, I mean, a lot of them they package in those smaller
yeah,
bottles, and then the
Renee just said small
price,
batch.
yeah, and they can be really pricey. And
Yeah,
it's like I
but they're
like
worth
to,
it.
oh sure, I like to try them, but they're like, it's like ends up being like $14 or something like that for literally maybe a wine glass and a half, and you're like, oh man. And with my limited budget, I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't, that's something I gotta be real careful about,
Yep.
so.
So what about you? What are you drinking?
Tonight I was drinking this at our D&D game on Friday, which actually we had a really great time. We had a lot of viewers. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Some friends of the show stopped in. My friend Kevin, who's known as, he's the Lich on Discord. He's got his huge Discord channel. Sean Nicolin, Bruce Paulson, he signed in. CD stopped by for a few. It was really cool. We had a lot of people viewing. But anyways, Punch Bowl Sangria from Farmhouse Cider Company. Now, Farmhouse has had a number of ciders that some of that I really like, and some that I'm like, I've never had anything that I think that I disliked. I've just had a few things that I've been like more, like I've liked some other better than others. This is fantastic. This is a really great, it says fruity and juicy Michigan hard cider from Farmhouse Cider Company. 5.5 alcohol by volume, a thirst for change and ambition for better. It's a 12-ounce can. And Farmhouse is, of course, out of Michigan, fermented and packaged in Hudsonville, Michigan. And like I said, I've reviewed a number of their ciders in the past, and this is a really, really solid one, I gotta say. I'm really enjoying it. It's a black cranberry, blood orange, and citrus blossom blended with Michigan apples, with 100% Michigan apples. It's a lovely berry-based cider. It was similar in ways to say Triple Jam from Blake's, but not exactly the same. It's got a distinct difference.
Okay.
I'd say it's got the citrus notes. I don't think Triple Jam has the citrus, so this has got a little more tartness to it. Triple Jam is like strawberry, raspberry, and blackberry or something like that, I think. And this is not. So, but this got a little more tart to it, hence that it's a sangria. I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. I definitely buy this again. It's good stuff. It's like I said, not cloyingly sweet. It's got that citrus to kind of balance it out a bit, and that kind of nice middle of the road, kind of a little bit of tart, a little bit of start sweet, ends tart. Nice.
Okay.
It's nice.
Yeah. So CD, in answer to whether or not Fleur de Bees is distributed, Renee says it's direct to consumer. So I think it's their part of their shipping direct thing. You can actually order and have things shipped directly.
No. CD, if you can, trying a two-hearted ale by recommendation, good, just can't do too much hops.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That is definitely my favorite. Oh, and she says she thinks they can ship to Wisconsin. So,
there you go. CD, man, if you can't get Bee Nectar at your local bottle shop, man, it is definitely worth looking into seeing if you can get it shipped direct, if you can order it or ship it direct, because it's a fantastic product.
They do some great stuff.
Yeah, they turn out there's a lot of stuff, and honestly, not to toot Renee's horn too much, I mean, a lot of the stuff that she has made specifically is just absolutely fantastic. The lemonade, the punk lemonade,
Yeah.
just one of the best things that they've had in quite a while. And then one of the newer ones anyway.
Yeah,
and
New Wave's really good too.
And New Wave's really good as well. Personally, I've always been a big fan of Black Fang.
I like Blood Amulet.
Blood Amulet's really good.
Shadow Thicket, which is one of their newer stills, is really good.
I haven't. Like I said, unfortunately I can't get a whole lot of their stills because it's just they're a little outside my price range for a lot of the smaller ones. Like if it's the more standard, because that's the thing. B Nectar started off as a standard, still mead, and then they started producing these. What is it? Session meads.
Session meads, yeah.
Yeah, like
and then ciders too.
And and the ciders as well. But they Flutibees, they are a really fantastic. Let's see, they only have so many, but still can get about 9.
Yeah, Zombie Killer's a favorite now, but looking at ordering now that I know that they can ship.
Yeah,
so,
cool. So yeah, all right,
so let's get into some stuff because I don't want to be trying to cram WandaVision in because there was so much crammed into this week's episode that I really want to be able to cover it. And
we did like 2 hours last week.
Yeah, let's not do that again.
Try not to do that this week. All right, so some quick hits. We did start a little late, so we're not doing too bad. Yeah. So the first thing that I think we should probably address real quick are some of the big things that are coming out of Hollywood the last couple of days, particularly when it comes to nerd culture. One thing specifically, Gina Carano and her firing from The Mandalorian.
Yep.
We will no longer be Disney in general, correct. We will no longer be seeing Gina Carano in any Disney production for the near future, which is also kind of sucks for like Marvel because she was a character, she was Angel Dust in the first Deadpool movie. And I don't believe the character died, or if she did, it was like she disappeared off screen. So
superhero landing. Yeah. She's gonna do a superhero landing.
It doesn't look like we're gonna see her again in any potential, like when the X-Men movies cross over. Basically, Gina Carano was fired because of her inflammatory and insensitive tweets and opinions that she's made clear on social media. Now, a lot of people have been calling out Disney, saying that she was canceled, or that she shouldn't have been canceled, or calling out cancel culture for dealing with the fact that she was just expressing her views and expressing her political opinions. I think the worst thing, of course, was because she associated being Republican to being a Jew in Nazi Germany.
Yeah, and that's the one that I think put it over the edge. It's one thing to say that you're against wearing masks or that you're an anti-vaxxer. That just makes you an idiot.
Or even to call into question the legality or the veracity of the election.
Yes.
A lot of people that still had a lot of questions about the mail-in ballots and stuff like that. And as much as it was a lot of people came out, a lot of people were saying this was the most secure election we've had in decades, that there was no voter fraud and stuff like that. There were still a lot of people that were very conspiracy theory-ish.
There's a bunch of sitting senators that are still saying that.
Exactly. And even then, as much as I was like, well, she's being a kook, I was still like, all right, people can have their opinions about that. She was also had posted some stuff that was very anti-trans, which is kind of shitty. I think initially she probably meant it to be more of a joke or whatnot, or because instead of how some people in their profiles are putting their pronouns, their preferred pronouns, she, him, or she, her, he, him, whatever. She put beep, boop, bop, which was basically, many people felt like she was making fun of the whole thing. Now, Pedro Pascal apparently educated her on it and said, no, that's not appropriate, and you really shouldn't be doing that. And she actually issued a retraction and apologized for that. But then she doubled down on some of these other things. And so that's the other thing, too. A lot of people were saying, like, she just got canceled immediately. No, she'd been warned several times that she needed to pull back if she was going to continue to be a representative of Disney and Disney Productions and Lucasfilm.
Yep. Well, and there's people who are supporting her who have come out and said that, well, they haven't done anything to punish Pedro Pascal for some of his tweets where where he compares Trump supporters to Confederates and Nazis.
Correct.
And I'm like, okay, but there were people carrying the Confederate flag and
Nazis, straight up Nazis.
And straight up, the Proud Boys were there. They're a neo-Nazi group. There's a lot to that. I mean, there's some truth to that. Not all of them are.
And he was also referring to a choice, a political choice. You have chosen to be a Nazi. You've chosen to be, these Southern, racists and whatnot. She was comparing an entire race of people that were persecuted and slaughtered en masse by the millions to a race of people to a political choice of being Republican. And
because they lost an election.
Right. So, and it's funny how like a lot of people have been, the conservatives are calling out the left and saying like, oh, you're canceling us and you're taking away our voice. And the thing is like, honestly, they just don't know what being called out looks like for shitty behavior.
Yeah. Well, and there's also a difference between call out culture and cancel culture.
Correct. Now, does Gina Carano deserve to be canceled? Probably not. I think she deserves to be called out, potentially, hopefully has to be educated. I was really disappointed because I actually liked her. I liked Cara Dune. I liked the character of Cara Dune. I liked Gina Carano. I thought she had potential as, and still has potential as a performer, as an actress. And hopefully she'll learn from some of this and whatnot, but it doesn't look like it because now, she's said that she's going to make movies with some, Tucker Carlson or something. No, it wasn't Tucker Carlson. It was,
let's say really Tucker Carlson?
No, it wasn't Tucker Carlson. It was some other like right-wing pundit who said that she's going to make a movie with him. But does she deserve to be canceled? I don't think so. I think she does deserve to be fired from this job, from The Mandalorian. She obviously didn't listen to her bosses, and it is still a private company.
Yeah.
That they can choose to not renew her contract.
Along the same thing, and I know it's going to get a little off topic for what we're talking about here, but just because I want to throw it out there before I forget, have you seen that there's a huge fan outcry about this on who they want her replacement to be?
Yes. Lucy Lawless.
Has
been marked. And now, and there's also a big, a petition being circulated to get Gina put back on The Mandalorian, which is not going to happen, I'm sure. There's the Disney is definitely, they will listen to their fan base, but they're not necessarily going to do something that's going to alienate another part. They're not going to flip flop.
I mean, they did with James Gunn.
Yes, they did to some extent, but I
think that was one where they just immediately reacted.
Yes. And I think cooler heads prevailed later on, when they were like, he was like, listen, I apologized for those shitty remarks a long time ago. And I did them when I made them when I was young and dumb and trying to be edgy. And I'm very sorry. And I think they were like, all right, you know what? Maybe we were too hasty. And this was 10 years ago that you made these kind of things. So when people can change. And hopefully maybe 10 years from now, Gina Carano will be like, oh, God,
Yeah.
I said some shitty things.
And that's the thing. And to me, that's what that type of thing is for. So, you call someone out on it and they change. Right. James Gunn is not the same person he was 10 years ago. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
Neither am I.
Yeah, I mean, Renee and I have talked. If she had known me in my 20s, she's like, I probably wouldn't have liked you.
Apparently, my dog. Can you hear him?
Yeah, I heard.
Dresden is having a moment in the other room. He's been very vocal today. I don't know what is bothering him.
Belmont was
Yes,
too. Belmont was like laying by the door crying today. And I don't know why. I'm like, he's laying by the front door, which he never does, and was just crying.
I don't know. I don't get it. He's been really today particularly, and it's not just him like howling. Not it's him like he's like he's talking to me.
Use your words.
Anyway, yeah, use your words. Anyway, so and in response to the idea of Lucy Lawless, I've loved Lucy Lawless. I think she's fantastic. I was a big fan of Xena, and still am. Some people have said she might be a little mature to play this role.
And I thought that too, and I was looking it up. There is about a 13-year difference between her and Gina Carano.
Right. And although Lucy
she still looks great.
She looks great. She looks great. I mean, she had a big part, a big role in Spartacus, in the TV show Spartacus. Yep. She was amazing in that.
She was in Ash versus Evil Dead.
She was. She's still doing action. She's still doing some great stuff.
I mean, of course she was in that because, her husband was one of the producers. So,
yes. You prefer CD? You prefer Xena's counterpart? You mean her?
What's her
name?
Sidekick? Her sidekick.
Gabrielle.
Gabrielle, yeah. I actually did too. I actually like Gabrielle more.
The redhead Lawless versus Sorbo. Oh, Kevin Sorbo. Kevin Sorbo has outed himself as being a real piece of shit lately too. I don't know if you heard about that. Apparently, I mean, I liked him too. I was a big fan of Kevin Sorbo, and but apparently he has come out as being quite a bit of a Trump supporter, and then I guess he's been accused of sexual harassment or inappropriate sexual behavior on some of the sets that he's been on, which is really disappointing. So I think she'd do fine. But there have been people that have brought up the idea that she might be a little old for the role. I don't think so though. I think she'll be all right. I think she'll be fine. So to move on, unless you had anything, did you have anything else about that?
No, just to move on though with the call out culture that's going on.
Right.
Is the other one that's been a big one lately and is actually gathering a lot more steam is Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yeah. So unfortunately, Joss Whedon. Now there had been rumors, and there had not so much rumors, but there had been talk about Joss Whedon being particularly toxic on the Justice League set. He took over. Obviously, a lot of people, this was a big deal. He took over for Zack Snyder to finish up the movie. Zack and Snyder had filmed about 2/3 of the movie, I believe, and then had to back away from the film. His daughter, I believe, died. And
his daughter or his son?
I think it was his daughter. She committed suicide, I think it was, and they had some horrible thing to deal with. And I think there was also some tension between him and the studio at the time too. So he exited the project, and Joss Whedon came in to finish it. Now, of course, Joss Whedon being a nerd culture darling, a lot of people were very, very pleased about that.
It was his daughter, you're right.
Joss Whedon had, he had directed the first Avengers film, and which went on to being one of the most successful movies of all time. Again, directed Avengers: Age of Ultron. Not quite as successful. I believe he did. Not quite as successful, but still pretty big movie. He went on to finish and work on the Justice League movie, to finish it. And apparently was particularly toxic on set. He did a lot of, he badmouthed a lot of what Zack Snyder had started, what he had made, what he had created, and like made fun of it a lot. And that was really disrespectful, considering he was still working with pretty much the entire production staff. I mean, it was just that had already put all this work in. And he also was apparently extremely toxic to some of the actors. Ray Fisher, who played Cyborg in the movie, has been very vocal about Joss Whedon, about the conflict that the two of them have had, enough to the point where he has the character of Cyborg and the actor has been removed from potentially appearing in the future Flash movie, and is pretty much like, just done. playing this character, which is unfortunate because I think he did a pretty good job playing Cyborg. We're going to have now there was, there were some people that had said that Ray Fisher was a little bit of a prima donna at times, but it still didn't excuse apparently a lot of the things that Joss Whedon did. Mm-hmm. Now, nobody has so far accused Joss Whedon of being like sexually abusive or physically.
So along with that, though, Charisma Carpenter has come out now and written a big thing about how toxic Joss was.
Right.
Specifically towards her on the sets of both Buffy and Angel.
Right. And that's how this has kind of trended so much.
Well, and so with that, I mean, and she was asked before about it, and she actually said, "No, I'd work with him again," and blah blah blah. And she's like, "You know what?
There were times we had conflict, but whatever."
And then she's now come out and said, "No, I can't stand back anymore. I whether or not this has any effect on my career, I need to say this." And basically, she told all about like when she got pregnant and just how nasty he was, and like calling her in the office and saying, "Are you going to keep it?"
Yeah, he accused her of trying to sabotage the show.
Yeah.
Because she got pregnant. She also, she had gotten a tattoo at some point of a rosary.
Oh, yeah, the rosary that's on her arm.
Yeah, and he gave her all kinds of shit about that, apparently.
Because she didn't consult him beforehand.
Right. Now, it is true that actors that are on a long-term show, if they are going to make massive, make changes to the way they look or the way they, their hair, their whatever tattoos, that is generally something you do discuss with the production company.
And there's a lot of times there's stuff in the contracts about that.
Yeah, there is. So maybe she could have or should have maybe said something. Hey, by the way, I'm going to get a tattoo in my arm. I hope it's not a huge deal. But there's also ways around it. I mean, there's pretty good tattoo coverage makeup that can be done.
Watch the first few seasons of Charmed. They cover up all of the women on Charm's tattoos.
Right, exactly.
Including the big rosary that Alyssa Milano has on her back. They actually used makeup to cover that up for the first several seasons.
Yeah. It's that's honestly not a huge deal.
Yeah.
And speaking as a makeup artist, I myself have covered up some tattoos to the point where you would never guess that somebody had them. So Charisma Carpenter came out and kind of lent a lot of weight to what Ray Fisher had been saying. And once again, nobody so far has accused him of being physically abusive or sexually abusive, although Michelle Trachtenberg, who was on the last came in about halfway through
season
Buffy,
5,
season 4 or 5,
was 5.
and was it 5 and played Buffy's little sister. Did at one point it was stated that he wasn't allowed to be alone in a room with her anymore. That apparently there was things said or done that was deemed inappropriate. I would imagine maybe some comments that were made, probably that because she was a teenage girl at the time, that was probably deemed inappropriate. If it had been physical, he probably would have been brought up on charges at this point. So
Sarah Michelle Gellar has come out and in support of Charisma Carpenter. Amber Benson has come out and said that
everybody so far pretty much has stated at the very least, even if they didn't have a personal negative thing, like Amy Acker had said that she never had any particular problem with him, but she is still in support of Charisma Carpenter.
James Marster said the same thing. He's like, I'm really sorry that, he goes, I will always be proud to have played Spike on both Buffy and Angel. I love that role. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I'm really sorry to hear what my fellow actors had to go through.
Yeah. Sarah Michelle Gellar said something similar. She goes, I'm proud to be associated with Buffy, but I no longer want to be, and I don't feel like I can be associated with Joss Whedon, professionally anymore. I mean,
now what surprises me is that with all this stuff coming out about him, that we haven't heard anything from any of the people that were on Avengers.
Correct. I don't know. Maybe he just felt like at that point he couldn't be the diva that he is. It sounds to me that what we're seeing is sort of a level of toxic masculinity, or at least a level of toxic humanity out of Joss Whedon. We see in Hollywood and in entertainment specifically that a lot of the times we forgive talented people for horrible shit. Look at what we're dealing with Marilyn Manson, what everybody is dealing with. I mean, him being accused of horrible behavior and being abusive and dangerous and scary and all these other things. And people knew about it for a long time, but they just overlooked it because, well, he's a weird artist and he's talented and all these other things. And I think that's what we're probably seeing with Joss Whedon. And Joss Whedon had, for the longest time, had also been praised as being like this feminist writer and director that wrote these powerful characters,
strong female
characters, and people still praise the Buffy TV show for changing their life or making them feel stronger about themselves and better about themselves. And I mean, there are like books written about analyzing this,
it was one of the first times we saw a gay couple together in a very positive light. Yes, to show them as a loving couple.
Yeah, and then he killed one of them.
Well, yeah, she wanted off the show though.
Gee, I wonder why. Amber Benson was actually one of the first people to come out in support of Charisma Carpenter. Like each one of them has said more and more things. Like Anthony Head, who played Giles on the show, he actually was shocked and amazed that he was like, how could I have missed this? His reaction was, I was very much like kind of a father figure to a lot of the people on that cast, and I completely missed it. And he was pretty much like ashamed of himself, more or less what he had said. He was very upset. I believe Nicholas Brendan is one of the few people from the original cast that hasn't quite spoken up yet. But there were also, I mean, Nick Brendan is one of the guys on the show, one of the few guys on the show that really hasn't thrived all that well outside of the Buffyverse.
A lot of the stuff, I mean, other than the stuff with Ray Fisher coming out, a lot of it seems to be that it's the women on his shows that he is. It's like, it's that masculine superiority. That very like you said, toxic masculinity that just, you know, I'm the boss, you know, you're just a woman, you're gonna do what I say, type of thing is what it comes off as.
And maybe you know, on the Avengers cast, it's largely all guys. He probably was kind of a very buddy with them, and probably just didn't have that kind of.
The thing is, so with this, it's one of those cases where, do I think that he should be canceled? No. Should he be called out? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is he a flaming pile of shit? Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it, you know? Sounds like he was kind of an asshole.
Yeah.
That he is like...
But I'll tell you what.
He's that creative asshole that we've encountered, that almost everybody's encountered a shitty boss.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. So I understand wanting to call out the toxic environments and things like that. But I have worked in so many toxic environments throughout my career.
Me too, man.
That
me too.
You can't just call out your boss all the time. This is actually one of those things that's a privilege that they have to be able to do that, because one, they've got a platform to where they can do it, and two, it's not something that everyone can do, because if I start calling out my boss, I just get fired.
Right, exactly.
Well, I'm sorry, let go for, you know, for staffing reasons.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what Ray Fisher is experiencing, and I think now maybe he's going to get some more like vindication because of this. I mean, if this is what people, if all of these actors are coming forward and saying, yeah, Joss Whedon was kind of a dick. I mean, we haven't heard it from any of the Firefly cast yet.
Right.
We haven't heard from. There's still a few holdouts from the Buffyverse. You know, I think the woman Amber. What's the name? She's on WandaVision now. She played played Anya. I don't think she's spoken up yet.
Emma Caulfield.
Actually, Emma Caulfield. Thank you. Actually, Charisma Carpenter, after Eliza Dushku came forward and with support, Charisma Carpenter actually came back and apologized for not publicly supporting Eliza Dushku when she sued. She was on that show Bull, apparently, and it was the one actor from. Actually, I've got it up on my phone here. It was a sitcom or a lawyer show.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bull. And apparently, Eliza accused the show star Michael Weatherly of harassment in 18 and won a $9.5 million settlement from CBS after she was fired from the show.
Huh.
And Charisma didn't, she goes, I owe you an apology. I never lent my voice to you privately nor publicly when you shared your truth after suffering sexual misconduct in the workplace. As I wrote to you privately, this makes your statement of support sweeter. So it was
he got together with Jessica Alba while they were filming Dark Angel.
Who did?
Weatherby.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, they were together for a long time. I know they were engaged. I don't know if they ever got married.
But anyway,
he was Eyes on that show. I don't know if you remember that show. It was her. It was
never
her.
Really watched
it was the post-apocalyptic show.
I remember it. I never.
It was like her first big role.
Right. Yeah. Kind of was what kind of introduced.
It kind of launched her.
So anyway, what we're seeing basically is Joss Whedon, who many of us feel we're huge fans of. It just turns out that apparently this guy is kind of a prick. And seems to be he's kind of a prick. And you and I were discussing this a little bit on via text on the days like last week when a lot of this came out. And and it's the difference between whether somebody needs to be canceled or whether somebody needs to be called out, and whether the person is an asshole or a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Cosby, he's a monster. That's why he's in jail. Joss Whedon, an asshole.
It sounds like an asshole.
Sounds like an asshole with just too much power.
Harvey Weinstein, monster,
right?
Kevin Spacey, monster.
Kind of different things, and it's the idea of, do we give these people room to grow, or do we give them do we just eject them from, and that's the thing. Joss Whedon could never work another day in his life. He's fine. It's not like if canceling him. Canceling him.
Honestly, Gina Carano, asshole.
Asshole. Yeah, exactly. It sounds like she is kind of an asshole. I don't even think she's straight up racist or anything. It doesn't sound like she's inappropriate and but yeah, kind of like an asshole. And hopefully she'll learn from this and maybe be less of an asshole, because who knows? She's still young. She could still maybe go on and have a career, or have a better career. Who knows? I mean, my hope for situations like this is that people will learn.
Yep. All right. So we should move on, though.
All right. Let me real quick, a couple of things before we get into WandaVision.
Well, there's one thing I wanted. There's one more thing that I have other than WandaVision too.
You go, and then
which is the other big thing is the Snyder Cut Justice League trailer that dropped.
Holy shit balls, man! Damn.
Yeah. Holy shit. 2.5 minute trailer.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I really am too. I think it's going to be pretty good. There's supposed to be like a 15-minute intermission in the middle of it.
Well, yeah, for the theatrical versions. Yeah. No, because it will be released in theaters apparently as well, but it'll be like pushing 4 hours or something.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's a 4-hour epic.
Yeah. So yeah, there's going to be like an intermission basically. So,
but yeah, if you haven't seen it, I did post it on Facebook a few days ago. It is pretty epic. It
looks pretty fantastic.
Yeah, the line that the Joker has is actually pretty cool.
What is it? We live in a society where.
Yeah. What is it? Shit! Now you're gonna make me Joker line from.
I think he looks pretty fucking cool. He looks scary as hell.
Well, and they got rid of the face tattoos,
right,
from Suicide Squad. So
yeah, he's obviously been roughed up. He's obviously been probably in Arkham for a while and stuff. He looks fucking scary, man, and I'm jazzed about this. I think this is really going to be great. Once again, we're looking at
Society Line.
About an hour and 40 minutes or so of footage we have not seen that was on the cutting room floor, basically, or that was cut out of when Joss Whedon took over and kind of retweaked the whole thing, and then another additional 5 minutes of new footage that was shot. And then a bunch of they had to tweak a lot of the special effects because a lot of the shots that got cut out, they didn't do the special effects on.
Shit, of course it's not showing it there. It just says that we live in a society.
Right, but well, look at the trailer. You know, if you guys want to see it, it's pretty great.
And I guess it's something that he said a lot. Though we live in a society.
Yeah. It's going to be huge. It's coming right up, right around the corner. What is it? March what?
March 18th.
March 18th.
Just over a month away.
Interesting. Something else premiering on March 18th, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Also, for just to keep your eyes open, March 5th is also the premiere on Amazon Prime of Coming to America. And the initial reviews are pretty good. People are saying, hey, your guys aren't going to be disappointed. Eddie Murphy's new movie, his sequel to the original Coming to America, is going to be pretty great. They're saying really good things, fun things, a reuniting of the majority of the cast. And pretty much, I believe, I think everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm fucking excited as hell about this one. I think it's going to be a blast.
We live in a society where honor is a distant memory. Don't we, Batman?
That's it. That was it. So I think I also saw a little thing saying that Zack Snyder would love to see Ben Affleck's Batman go up against Joe Manganiello's Slade Wilson, Deathstroke. That'd be really cool. I'm excited, man. I think I liked Justice League, but I think it did definitely fall short of expectations, and I think
really didn't care for it.
I think if Joss Whedon had started from the beginning with it and wasn't taking over from somebody else, I think it probably would have been a much better film. But the fact that I'm
not sure because it wouldn't have followed the darkness of all of the other movies except for like Aquaman and maybe Wonder Woman.
No, I agree with that, but I think overall the movie probably would have been better received or better if it hadn't been Joss Whedon basically inking over Zack Snyder's pencils. I think if he had done all of the art himself, it probably would have been better. It would have probably been better received. Now that we're actually seeing Zack Snyder do the inking over his own pencils to continue on with the analogy, I think we're going to see what the original feel of the film was going to be. It is going to be a darker movie. It is going to be I think
you got Darkseid and the forces of apocalypse coming to Earth. It's going to be dark.
I do think we're going to see, though, it's going to be a much grander ending. It's going to be a much like the triumph is going to be so much better now because because it was so dark, and they're going to be overcoming that darkness.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the scene in the trailer of like post-apocalyptic Batman, like Mad Max Batman, was actually pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
With the goggles and the duster, and
where Darkseid has come and already
it's Batman's vision because he has a dream too. So
it's his vision of it's his nightmare.
Yep.
So to move on,
I agree though. CD, no more Batfleck. I am not a fan of Ben Affleck as Batman.
I liked him. I thought he was all right.
I did not.
He was not my favorite Batman, but I didn't dislike him as Batman. I like the look.
To date, I still think that the best Batman movies overall have been the Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, oh sure, absolutely. But there are definitely times when I wasn't a huge fan of the way what's his name played Batman.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with his Bruce Wayne. There were times
I thought his Bruce Wayne was great. I thought his Batman was fine. People got on him about I'm Batman, but he was trying to disguise his voice. I mean, that made sense to me because Batman going around going, "Hey, Commissioner Gordon, how's it going?" Sure. Wait a minute. Your voice sounds real familiar.
No. I feel you on that. I certainly get it. I just think
it's like Clark Kent taking off the glasses and nobody knows that he's fucking Superman.
Sure, of course, and I certainly agree with you on that. I just think it got to be a bit much, and I do think, and one of the changes of the fact that in the Affleck version that he has a voice distorter in his cowl, I was like, that makes so much sense. Why was that not an
that was
idea. You
that
know,
was the same thing that they used in in Arrow too. When
yeah,
he
exactly.
first started off, he had a voice modulator.
You did. You had a voice
And
modulator,
Flash
so.
would shake himself so when he talked, so that he couldn't.
Because
I'm
it
like,
is a very distinctive thing.
yes,
Voices are very distinctive, just like a fingerprint. Every voice is different. So, um, so I get it. But then there were also times when I just didn't like how much the mask really just pushed on his mouth, and it just
yeah.
like it looked like he was squeezing out of it. And that was pretty much the only kind of issue I had there. I liked for the most part the way the costume looked.
I liked what I really liked was the way that they did a lot of the stuff. It wasn't necessarily Bruce coming up with everything. It was him stealing from Wayne Tech R&D.
Right. Yeah, it made a lot of sense. I mean, Bruce Wayne is supposed to be, a genius. He's supposed to be really, really smart, but he's not necessarily going to think up of all of these gadgets and stuff. And I like the way how Nolan made Batman and made it a believable kind of thing. Made him believable that we could understand
his ass kicked too a lot
regularly. So but I also liked Ben Affleck's take. I thought that the look was really cool. I thought the costume looked really that good mix between the comic book and the realism. I did feel like sometimes the Nolan verse was a little too real. That they leaned a little bit too much into the explanation of how and why. And I also was never a huge fan of the Tumbler myself. I like the Batmobile that looks a little more like a car and less like a tank. But I
was all right with that one.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't.
But anyway, we got off track there. But still.
So yeah, coming up. So March 18th, guys, right around the corner for the Justice League, the Snyder Cut. So we're super excited. So a couple of big things before we get into our WandaVision tear apart. I completed my first playthrough of Cyberpunk 2077 earlier, right after this show, I think, or maybe 2 days after our show last week. It is
put the time in. What's your hours on the game?
Oh, like 128 hours, I think, something like that. It was a great game. It was a lot of fun.
Now, okay, so I got to ask you one thing. With that much time, did you drive everywhere or did you fast travel a lot?
I drove everywhere.
Okay.
I drove everywhere. I think I used the fast travel once. I wanted to drive everywhere because if that's part of the experience of playing the game. Just seeing the vista, the ground vista. It's another reason why I bought the game for my PlayStation and not for my computer, because I felt like that game needed to be on a big screen on my TV. I feel like it's a great game that had a really shitty launch, and I'm looking forward to them fully fixing it. We have they're saying that another patch coming by the end of the month that should deal with the majority of the main problems that they've had with this game. I'm gonna set it aside for a while now and play some other games, and I'm gonna come back to it after the next patch, and maybe I might even wait until the next DLC comes out this summer before I get into a whole nother playthrough, because I do have several other games. I have a good probably 8 more games on my shelf that need to be played.
Yeah, I've been playing. I actually played quite a bit on Sunday, and was having a blast. I actually got the Basilisk and had my moment with
Pan Am. Yeah.
Which I didn't realize that she is actually a truly romanceable character. She's not just a hit it and quit it. She's
one of your romanceable kids. She's the straight male.
Yes.
Romanceable.
Which I knew that, but I didn't realize that that's what they meant by romance, was that you could actually truly romance her. That she's actually she's actually truly interested in you.
Yeah, there's 4 characters that you can romance. She's the straight male choice. There is River, if you've met River, the cop.
Oh, River the cop, yeah.
Yeah, he's the straight female one, I believe. Well, you have to be female body shape, female voice to play her, to romance him. There is Perry, who used to be in Johnny's band.
I haven't met Perry.
You haven't met him. I met him at the very end. And then that's the gay male version for just to be succinct. And then the lesbian version is Judy.
Yeah.
With the lesbian option. And from what I understand, there's no crossing. Like once you've made that choice, like in The Witcher, you could kind of romance several characters, but in this one game, you pretty much this is what you get. You know, you make your choice. This is what you get. So yeah, I
was actually a little disappointed I didn't get the chance to when you're having your moment with Pan Am and she's like, well, I'm still here, blah blah blah. You can come with us. You didn't have the option to say sure and end the game.
Yeah. Well, there are 5 endings. There's 4 kind of specific endings, and then there's a special hidden ending, I guess, that you can do that is extra hard. It's like where you do the end game stuff without any help and without any like support from like various factions that you can kind of team yourself up with. But I don't want to get into end game
don't
stuff
get into any of that because
but I
I'm not even
want to
close
talk
to that yet.
Right. I want to talk about some of the stuff that I feel like the game needs and that I was a little disappointed in. Basically, it's more cosmetic things. I'm bummed out that you can't change the color of any of your clothing.
I'm bummed out that you have to wear goofy ass looking fucking outfits to have your best armor.
Sometimes you do. I
look at my outfits and I'm like, how the hell am I getting laid wearing this?
Right. A lot of the times I just kind of like, I stuck to, if I found something that really looked cool and then it was still pretty good, I just stuck with it. I kept, particularly if I could add enhancements to them, I would upgrade the enhancements so that maybe the armor kept going up on a jacket or a pair of pants. You do get gifted a couple of things that are kind of cool later on too.
Renee won't wear a hat on her character because she doesn't like the way they look.
Yeah,
and so she's like, I'll take the hit on the armor.
If you don't want to do that. I have a helmet that I got that was just really great. I kind of stuck to it for quite a while with the helmet. I also I really wanted a nice set of really cool shades, but I had this great brain dance harness that was just really, really awesome that I just kind of stuck to. So there's that. Even if it cost you in-game money, I'd go into one of the shops and say, hey, can you make this jacket black or can you make this shirt red or whatever? That would be, I think that's something that they could add. I think this game, they've left a lot of things open so that they could potentially add them in later expansions, because I truly feel that this is a game that you could keep going, man. You could just keep adding shit to it.
Give it like what WoW does it with the transmogrifier. You can actually go in, and if you own a certain set of armor, even if this other armor that you get is better, you can actually go in and have it transmogrified so that it looks like the armor that.
Yeah, you should be able to transfer over the properties from one thing to another. I said, even if it costs me in-game money, fine.
Because I found a jacket early on. I'm like, this jacket's kind of cool. It's got spikes on the arms and stuff like that. I'm like, that's pretty badass. And now I'm wearing a little denim sleeveless jacket because somehow that has better armor than this big leather jacket that I was wearing before.
Yeah, I found out a vest, a fluorescent vest that makes me look like I'm picking up trash on the side of the highway, and it had amazing armor on it and stuff. I ended up, it was an orange. It was a legendary or something like that. I think I ended up I think I just straight up sold it. So one of the things that I was bummed out that I wanted to collect all the cars, all the vehicles, and I still had 4 left at the end of my game. I now know that I should probably be selling more of my weapons that I find as opposed to just disassembling them, because I had a shit ton of resources that I could.
I haven't even started crafting yet.
And I never got around to doing much crafting. I don't think I built a single weapon or armor piece.
I've just started getting schematics.
I upgraded things. So I did upgrade things, but I didn't really deal with that a lot. So if I had sold more of my items instead of just disassembling them, I would have probably had enough money later on to get all the vehicles.
So what things can you upgrade anything, or does they have to be a certain level?
You can upgrade anything, but only up until a certain level for yourself. It will block you if you're not
right. But I mean, so
high.
you can take a green gun or something and actually upgrade that.
You can upgrade it, but it'll always be green.
Right.
You can continue to upgrade it, but it will still always be green.
I've only got one legendary right now, and that's my Mantis Blades.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I found those. That's the other thing too.
I found them too. I found them and went. They're right by a Cyber Psycho, and you can run in, grab the Mantis Blades, and run out. And I immediately went and had them put on. And
nice.
I was like one hitting guys right after that.
Oh yeah, the Mantis Blades.
I would like do the strong attack and leap at them, and it's just like slash stick, and you hold them up in the air, and then throw them off.
See, I didn't do the Mantis Blades. I did the Gorilla Arms, and those were great because you could rip open doors and stuff and windows, and that came in handy. I also didn't do a whole lot of the sword play was something that and blades was something like I kind of had to. I had to concentrate on doing because I was doing so much gunplay. I was like, oh, I really should use my blades so that I can get more perk points and stuff like that. So. But I stuck to the Gorilla Arms. I'll probably do Mantis Blades with another playthrough. I did think those were pretty cool though.
If you know where they are, but one of the things you can run in, grab them, and get out before the Psycho even sees you. So you can get them early before you even have to take him on.
That's nice. I felt like that was really cool, but at the same time, I didn't like that you couldn't resell any of those things. Like buying Mantis Blades is like $15,000 to start for the lowest level. And I found like legendary Mantis Blades at one point. I'm like, why, man? I mean, I should put these on, but I was already well invested into the blunt attack of the Gorilla Arms. So that I feel like it sucks that you can't sell your cybernetic implants. And I think the other thing that sucks is that for a game where you can add and so many different cybernetic implants and change so many things, but you can't change the way your face looks. You can't even change your hairstyle. Yeah. There's no you can Witcher 2 and Witcher 3, you could go to a ton of different places and have your hair cut and shaved, and you can do all kinds of different things. You can't get a haircut.
The other thing that gets me is like when you're doing like your cyberware, I was looking at stuff and I accidentally clicked on one. You automatically buy it if you do it. There's no do you want, there's no like put it in the shopping cart and then and then buy a thing. If you click on something, you buy it.
Okay, I
spent $7,500 that I wasn't sure I was going to spend on this one cyber implant, and I'm like, oh, I guess I'm getting it put in now.
On the console version, I don't think that's the case, but it's still, you still gotta, I mean, I guess you do gotta hit the button, and so I guess it was just more
the thing is that it's the left mouse button, so it's like I've always got my finger on it, so I just went to look at it and I accidentally clicked the button.
Okay, yeah, that sucks. So a lot of the problems I'm having with it are more a little like kind of just gameplay stuff that's like fairly cosmetic, but I hope that hopefully they'll change it and they'll adjust it later on, because and I think they can. I mean, these are really simple things, honestly, that they could adjust. They could definitely put in some kind of place where you could go to get tattoos if you wanted. There's some place to go if you wanted to get your hair styled differently, or hell, honestly, change the way you look completely. I mean, that's simple stuff comparatively when it comes to the gameplay. And like changing the color on your clothing or on the color of your vehicles.
Yep.
Why can't that happen? Anyway, Cyberpunk 2077, it is a good game. It had a shitty opening, shitty start, and it is dealing with some issues. They just got hacked, apparently. The CD Projekt Red got hacked, and they got a huge hack. But it's something.
It's the game code is now out on the dark web.
Yeah, in the ether. Yeah. It's out there. So
it's in cyberspace.
Yeah. So anyway, check it out though. I'd say give it a chance, man. It's still selling. It is a bit discounted now if you want to buy it new, because of the controversy. But it's still a really good game, and it's going to get better. It's one of those games that I feel like once they iron out all the bugs, it's going to be an amazing game. So check it out. The other thing, I started playing Avengers, the Marvel's Avengers on the PlayStation 5. It is the PlayStation 4 version. The PlayStation 5 upgrade has not gone gold yet. One of the big kind of problems with this game that people have had is that Crystal Dynamics and the parent company, they kind of made a lot of promises, but have had to kind of pull back on some of those promises, probably because of the pandemic and some things. It was marketed as a game that could be played, and then also you could play online with people, and you could invite people to play the game with you. And so you could play Captain America while a friend of yours is playing Thor, while another friend of yours is playing Ms. Marvel, another friend is playing Iron Man. And you can do that, and that's kind of a cool thing. The main storyline, while it is very cool and it is its own thing, it's a variation on the Marvel universe. It's not quite Marvel canon. It's relatively short for what it is. I've already completed the main storyline. It's called Reassembled. It was, once again, very, very cool, but relatively short. But it was marketed in that if you buy the game, they're going to be putting out a shit ton of free new stuff, constantly updating the story and with with free stuff. So they've said that Spider-Man will be exclusive on the PlayStation. You won't be able to get Spider-Man on the other versions. It is also, like I said, they've teased a number of other characters. Hawkeye, Kate Bishop Hawkeye. They've also teased potentially She-Hulk as well, and some other characters. I wouldn't mind seeing Captain Marvel or Black Panther. But they did, like I said, they did delay some stuff, and they did finally release the first new expansion back in January. Now that's what I'm playing right now. Features Kate Bishop, the new Hawkeye, the younger female Hawkeye. It does feature Clint Barton as well, but he is an NPC at this point. And I haven't finished it, but it's also relatively short. So these are shorter, like, gameplay sessions, shorter kinds of gameplay, but it is still pretty fun and very, very pretty. Now, they did release just today, on March 18th, will be the next new content upgrade, which will feature Clint Barton, Hawkeye, as a playable character. So, and it features time travel. In fact, it features time travel. It starts with some time travel stuff in the first expansion. And then it gets into more of it where we see actually Clint Barton going up against the Maestro, which is the future version of Hulk in Hulk Imperfect. We also see a character of Old Man Barton, which was like Clint Barton in that setting as well. He's in the game. And it's also introducing the Kree as a potential enemy as well. So it's a cool game, guys. Give it a chance. There is a lot of grinding involved, and there's a repetitive, like kind of a level of repetitive stuff, because you go into these kind of set different kind of environments there's maybe like 10 of them. So you're going to see some repeats of different kinds of environments where the enemies get harder or get tougher or get more numerous. But you do get a lot of, as you level up, you get the things, you get points to spend to increase your powers and expand things, and it's really cool. It's a fun game. And it did say, I believe it did say in the trailer for the new upgrade, March 18th, there will also be available the PlayStation 5 upgrade. So the game will be upgradable to the PlayStation for free if you buy the game. So that was it. That was all I kind of wanted to talk on. Let's talk WandaVision, man.
WandaVision. What was it, a special Halloween spooktacular or something like that? Yeah,
something like that. What are we calling this anyway? Are we visioning the WandaVision? Are we viewing Vision?
Viewing WandaVision?
Viewing WandaVision?
I didn't really come up with a catchy name. Watching Wanda.
Watching Wanda. There we go. That sounds naughty. Kind of dirty. I don't know. Our vision of
what's your vision?
So the interesting thing is, a little bit of a side note here. I have a friend that's in the next episode.
Really?
In this coming week's episode, I have a friend of mine. Yeah, one of my friends from Ren Fair.
So, just to start off, we're in the 90s now, or 90s, early 2000s.
Yes, the show is very reminiscent of Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes, the opening credits, which are creepy as fuck if you actually listen to them.
Yeah. And
did you actually listen to it at all?
I did, but I can't remember what it says
now. Hold on a second, because I had to restart, so let me pull it up here, because I actually looked them up, because I listened to it multiple times, and there was one spot I couldn't actually hear. It's WandaVision, Don't try to fight the chaos. Don't question what you've done. The game can try to play us. Don't let it stop the fun.
Oh, man.
Some days it's all confusion, easy come and easy go. But if it's all illusion, sit back, enjoy the show. Let's keep going. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going through each distorted day. Let's keep it going, though there may be no way of knowing who's coming by to play.
That's pretty creepy as hell. I gotta address what CD was saying here. He says, how many days has it been out? We're talking Cyberpunk. It came out on December 10th, roughly. Yeah, you have spent what percent of time since it's been out playing? Russ only started about a month ago, though. Awake time. Russ, stay away from MMORPGs. You may never get to anything else. Word.
Yeah.
Brother, I played
City Heroes.
City Heroes was my jam. And I still I have it. I have the cracked, the fan made version that they came out last year that I play still occasionally. And it's dude, when City Heroes came out the first year and a half, all I did was work, date the girl I eventually married, and play that game. That was all I did when that came out. 31% of awake time playing Cyberpunk, assuming 6 hours of sleep. That is dedication. It was dedication. I was dedicated to Cyberpunk. It was good. I didn't play it every day, but I did play it a lot. And when I did play it, it was a long time. So anyway, yeah, Malcolm in the Middle. I liked it too. Like in Malcolm in the Middle too was one of the earlier shows where the characters were specifically speaking to the camera and breaking the fourth wall. So we did see that too. We saw the boys, the twins.
Yeah, we saw Billy first coming down the stairs, dressed in his Wiccan costume.
Right, dressed in the initial kind of a very reminiscent of the Wiccan costume.
Because it is Halloween,
and it's cool because they are very much showing Billy does tend to be the nicer, more sensitive one, whereas Tommy in the comics, both of them,
Dorkosaurus Rex.
Right.
That's what Billy is.
And
That's not a real dinosaur.
Right. Not a real dinosaur. And Tommy tends to be kind of a little bit of a jerk, which is very appropriate considering his powers mirror that of his uncle, Pietro Quicksilver, who also tends to be kind of an impatient jerk in the comics.
But yeah, we start off with the boys talking. And
we ended the show in the 80s with Quicksilver showing up at the end of the episode.
Yes, at the end of the last episode.
And it was Evan Peters playing Quicksilver.
So we got that. And Pietro is obviously there as the cool uncle character, the one that's
visiting from out of town.
Yeah, visiting from out of town. Then while Tommy's not wearing a costume, he is wearing the colors of his costume from later on. They're like talking about waking up their uncle, and because he's sleeping on the couch, and Tommy's egging Billy on, and he's like I know you're just afraid of him because you think he might be a vampire. It's 4:00 in the afternoon and he's still sleeping,
right?
And you can see Pietro wakes up. And then he starts using his super speed, and he's playing with the boys and scaring them and joking around with them. And then Wanda comes downstairs in the Sokovian fortune teller outfit.
Oh man. What are you dressed as, Mom? I'm a Sokovian fortune teller.
And then she's like,
oh man.
She looked great in the costume.
She did. She looked great. I mean, I gotta admit, for a very kind of like cheesy 80s spandex or 90s spandex kind of costume. And then of course the Vision comes down in a very weird version of the Vision.
Got like yellow basketball shorts and tennis shoes and
it's and you can tell, see, that's the thing at this point. He knows. He knows something.
Well, that's the thing, because he talks about it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm glad that you decided to wear it." He's like, "Well, there was nothing else in my closet except this."
Yeah.
And she kind of looks at him, and he's like, "But you look great," and he starts playing along with
you
it
scamp, you know, and Yeah, so it's like he knows.
I know how you feel about Mexican wrestlers.
Yeah, and that was what it was. She was like, "Oh, you're supposed to be a Mexican wrestler," and so we're establishing now at this point that Vision knows
Pietro's
something.
standing there looking at him. He's like, "What are you supposed to be?" And he like names off a bunch of things. And then like the last thing is like a booger, and he's like, "Yeah, that's what it is." He's like just needling him. He's just
which is what he was meant to do, and he addresses that later.
He goes, we'll get into that later on. Yeah. Right. So, but yeah.
So, so anyway, they you can see that the Vision obviously is still having problems. The reality is changing around him. He still doesn't understand what's going on. The brother is supposed to be dead, and now all of a sudden he's here. He still doesn't get it. He knows he's the Vision. Mm-hmm. He knows that he's got powers and abilities, and there's something, but he doesn't know exactly what's going on, and it's really frustrating him. And so then he expresses that he's got to go out and patrol for the neighborhood watch, and
that's like, why he can't go trick-or-treating with the kids.
And then Pietro says,
and Wanda, he's talking with her though, and Wanda actually says something about, like, that's not what you're supposed, and she stops, and he's like, what? And she's like,
right,
nothing.
Because he's fighting against it. He's still got a level of free will, and he's fighting because she doesn't. I don't think Wanda wants him to be completely subservient to her whims and will. She wants him to be the Vision. Yeah. And at first he was playing along because he was happy and he wasn't confused and things. But once it started to break down.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're starting to see things break down.
Right.
And when he leaves, the last thing he says is he looks at Wanda and says, be good, and leaves.
Ooh, some heavy stuff, man. And so then Quicksilver takes Tommy and shoots him out of the house and brings back a couple seconds later, and they're in a Quicksilver variant costume
with the hair.
And it was almost like, because that's the thing in the comics, Tommy, also known as Speed, has the power of Quicksilver, and so it was very cool that he did that. Now the interesting thing though too, in the comics, Speed's colors aren't silver, he's green and white. So, but still, it was pretty cool. And then Tommy is the twins and Mom go out and
we cut to the outside world.
Okay, right.
After that,
let's get to there.
And we see that Hayward actually starts showing his true colors now. Mm-hmm. He's not playing around anymore. He basically flat out says he wants Wanda dead.
Mm-hmm. More or less. Because at a certain level, you're like, okay, we understand. I mean, he's a government agent. Mm-hmm. And this woman is a clear and present danger. And he talks about...
But he's definitely got a thing about supers.
Yes. Yeah. I think because I think he must have lost somebody in the snap or in the blip or whatever, or at the very least, if he lost them or something happened because of this, mm-hmm. Maybe they didn't die or disappear in the blip, but maybe when they came back, they couldn't handle it. Or maybe when he lost somebody, other people couldn't handle it, And he talks about it some sort of
he makes a comment when
you don't know what it was like.
When Monica starts defending Wanda and says, she needs help. We need to help her.
Right.
We don't know what's going to happen if she dies in there or out here.
Right. Exactly.
And he's like, all you people that left still have the luxury of optimism.
Right. He goes, you don't know what we had to do to keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And when you really think about it, I mean, we talk about like, man, there's a lot of people in this world, but if all of a sudden 50% of our population just up and disappeared, it would be horrible.
Yep.
There would be, not only would there be massive destruction and massive death and loss of life. And because that's the thing, if people disappeared, it wouldn't just be people just dying. I mean, there would be plane crashes and train crashes and buses and cars. There'd be, doctors that were suddenly performing life-saving surgery would be gone, I mean,
but their patient would still be there.
Right. Scientists, or the patient would disappear. Scientists would be gone.
Can you imagine
food
that?
shortages.
You're in the middle of open heart surgery and you dust, but your doctor's still there. 5 years later, you come back and you're in the same state.
Oh my God.
Wind up on the operating table with nobody there and your chest open.
Right. no longer connected to the machines that are keeping you alive. I mean, just simple things like that. The concepts behind this idea have not been fully explored. So, I mean, thankfully, when we were talking about like, well, what if you were in a plane and the plane was up in the sky and all of a sudden you come back and then bang, are you still up in the sky or are you on that plane?
Yeah.
You know, hopefully you're on the plane and not,
not
somewhere in the sky.
And
not falling. So,
but he winds up kicking him out. He kicks because her and then Darcy steps up too, and he's like, "Well, which one of you is the feisty sidekick?"
Yeah, that too.
And then Jimmy
which
steps
is a shitty thing to say.
Well, and then Jimmy steps up, and I'm like, "There's the feisty sidekick."
Yeah. And Jimmy is one of the first people to jump to the hero's defense, which is really great.
And he then kicks them all out. He's like, "Get them off my base." And they're escorted out. Oh, he also makes a comment to Monica about, "I know your history with Carol Danvers."
Right.
Which still alludes to the whole, we don't know what that is yet.
We don't know what that is. I heard one theory as to why Carol Danvers' hair was shorter in
Endgame.
In Endgame, is that because it was 5 years later and whatnot, that she might have shaved her head in solidarity with Monica's mother, with Maria, who was going through cancer treatment.
Yeah.
And that might have been, that's why her hair was so much shorter when 3 years later.
Right.
Because Monica's mother died 2 years after the blip. And then, so that's a, that's a thing. But anyways, they're basically escorted out of the room.
Well, they're escorted out, and then they're talking as they come out, and then all of a sudden Jimmy just cold cocks one of the guards.
Yeah. He's still a fucking FBI agent. He may be kind of a geek, but
And then Monica starts doing it, and they take out all the guards. And Darcy just looks at him and says, "Why didn't anybody tell me the plan?"
Yeah, why didn't you say anything to me? So then they disguise themselves and they get back inside, and basically Darcy is then able to hack into
which actually happens later, because right after that, once we see them come out, they're like, "All right, come on," and they start heading somewhere else, and then we cut back inside.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, isn't it? That's when
they're out trick or treating,
right? And so Wanda and Pietro are kind of talking, and Wanda keeps testing him.
Well, but before that, even when the kids go to take off, Pietro says something.
Yes, this.
Yes, he's like, "Unleash hell, demon spawn."
Demon spawn, yeah,
and sends him off. Which
now people have been saying like that. That is a big clue.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That it could be. But it could also just be a red herring. It's something that the cool uncle would say.
I think it's a red herring, personally. I still don't think they're ready to introduce Mephisto. But calling that is, like I said, it's a throwback to the comic books where the boys were created through the use of shards or pieces of Mephisto's soul.
Yes.
So basically parts of the soul of the devil.
Basically they are demon spawn.
Yeah, essentially. And to create these young characters. And so that was pretty crazy. And then you see like Pietro like stealing all the candy from all the kids, or like we're getting a report that all the kids the candy's gone.
Well, the whole testing thing goes back too, because earlier on Pietro mentions something reminded him of that it's worse than the costumes Mom had us wear back when we got. And he said something, he named something, and they show.
And then they do a flashback
to two little kids in Sokovia, and this woman giving them fish.
Yeah, and he's got an eye patch on, and she's
and she's like, "I don't remember it that way."
Yeah.
So there's conflicting memories.
Right.
So that's the thing, is that now it's, is he really Pietro, or is he the multiverse Pietro? So he has different
experiences. Yeah. And then we've also, like, he even says it's obvious that he knows he's in this weird situation, this almost and that's TV show situation.
And the thing is, though, is he is like, he's got free will. He knows that there's something else going on, because he's constantly calling her out on it. He basically says at one point, well, it's later on, but basically, I'm the fun uncle. I'm here to pick on the brother-in-law and
have fun with the kids or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, just like it you wanted.
Yeah.
He goes like, I was gone. He goes, I remember being shot. I was gone.
Yeah, that was
now,
later. But
right. I heard you, and you.
Yeah, I heard you calling me. But that's the other thing. So he remembers being shot, though.
Right.
So.
And that was one of the things that I was like, motherfucker can outrun a bullet, but he couldn't outrun bullets when he got shot. That was something I did not like.
He was protecting. He was protecting Clint.
Yes, and I get that. But the main reason why they didn't have Quicksilver for
Cap shield, Hawkeye shield.
They didn't. They killed him off specifically because Quicksilver was also appearing in the Fox films.
Right, and that was the deal they made with Fox.
Yeah, he could only be in like one movie or something.
But anyway, so Wanda tries testing him, and he calls her out, and he's like, "You're testing me." He never answers the question.
Right.
But
where's your accent?
He says,
"Where's yours?"
Yeah. He says that he knows he looks different.
Yeah.
And Wanda asks him why, and he says, "You tell me. If I'd found Shangri-La, I wouldn't want to be reminded of the past either."
Yeah. Whew. It was heavy, man.
Yeah, he knows all that. And then the kids come back up, and this is another kind of this is just a little homage thing. Mm-hmm. The kids come up, and Tommy says, talks about wanting to go do stuff, and Wanda says, "Yeah, you can," and he's like, "Kick ass," and high fives his uncle and takes off, and Wanda's like, "Kick ass."
Oh, that's right.
Both Quicksilvers were in the movie Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass. They were. Yeah. No, I forgot about that. That's right. Side note, did you hear? I actually saw a little note that apparently Evan Peters, the guy who's playing Quicksilver now, has been slated to play to be in Ace Ventura 3.
No.
As the son of Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura.
Yeah. But then Wanda runs into Herb.
Yes.
And who's dressed as Frankenstein.
Right.
Or Frankenstein's monster. And and he's having trouble. He's hearing about what? All the candy's disappeared, and you see Pietro with the kids running around stealing all the candy. And then and now all the pumpkins have been destroyed, and he's showing him beating on all the pumpkins, and Wanda's watching it like, what the hell? And he's like, I don't know what's going on. And
that was very Malcolm in the Middle sitcom right there. Very kind of surreal.
And Wanda's like, well, maybe Vision can help you. He's like, what? Vision? He's not on duty. And she's like, what?
And she's like, oh, I thought,
Yeah, and Herb's like, he's like, wait, can I help you, Wanda? You want something changed?
Yeah. Oh, do you want something changed? So obviously the people are they know.
They're starting to know. They're coming. It's like they're becoming more aware.
Right. They know that
things
she's
are unraveling.
The one.
It's like she's losing control.
Right.
Which then we get to Vision, who's heading towards the edge of town, and we see him. You see kids running around in this little cul-de-sac, and he looks over and he sees this woman just sitting there putting a ghost up, and she just keeps doing this.
Right.
And her husband's in the background, and he's got a pumpkin, and he goes to put it down, and he stands back up and moves over, and he goes to put it down, and he stands back up and moves over.
Yeah, and you see in other parts
one tear come out of the woman's eye. Right.
And you see in other parts where people are just standing stock still.
And that's later, though. That's even when he gets farther out. It's like the farther away from the center of town he gets.
Or at least the farther away from Wanda and where she's at. Yeah. She doesn't have as much influence.
They don't have any set. They don't have anything to do, so they're just in stasis, waiting. But then,
it's where all the kids were. Because at one point, even Pietro asked, "Where'd you get all these kids?"
Yeah, that was later on too. Yeah. But the after that, we cut to the commercial, which we didn't talk about last week's commercial with Lagos. Right. When you need to clean something up you didn't intend, which. That's a hell of a reference.
I forgot why I couldn't remember what Lagos was.
Lagos is where she it's in Winter Soldier. It's where the guy's gonna blow himself up and she grabs him and throws him up in the air and she takes out the Wakandan aid group.
Yeah.
That was in
Civil
Lagos.
War. That was in Civil War.
Civil War, that was in Lagos.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
And that was the name of the town. That's why that was every one of the commercials so far has had something to do with the trauma Wanda has had in her life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Hydra, creating her. It's her being mind controlled.
It's the Stark weaponry.
Yeah, the Stark weaponry
toaster.
that took out her parents. Yeah. So and then it was Lagos, which was her big mistake. And then this one though was very 90s. Holy shit, was that a 90s commercial?
Absolutely.
Shark comes in on a kid's on a deserted island, and he's like, I'm so hungry. And this shark comes in, and he's like, hungry? I remember when I was hungry. And he offers this kid like a little yogurt pack called Yo Magic.
Yo Magic, yeah. And the kid can't open it. He's like,
well, that's the thing. He's
sitting
like,
there.
And the line is, snacked on Yo Magic.
Yeah.
And the kid's trying to open it as the shark leaves, and you see the time going by, and the kid just turns into a skeleton because he can't open this. So he starves to death. Yeah. But it's snacked on Yo Magic, the snack for survivors. Which kind of leads you to believe that someone is actually feeding off of Wanda.
Okay, that's a cut. That yes.
That they've given her this ability, but they're actually feeding off of her, or that Wanda's feeding off of everyone in town to fuel the magic.
Yeah.
But I think it's actually somebody's feeding off of her.
I think somebody's feeding off of her, which is more likely. They've also, the term nightmare was tossed around a lot in this episode. And so there are some people that are saying that instead of Mephisto as being the big bad, it could be Nightmare, who is the spirit of evil nightmares and stuff like that, or scary nightmares. So that's conceivable as well.
But yeah, that's when then they're talking. They go back to Wanda and Pietro, and they're walking around, and Pietro tells Wanda that he's doing what she wanted.
Right.
Which is come to town unexpectedly, stir up tension with the brother-in-law, play with the kids, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then he says that he remembers being shot and hearing her call to him.
Right. Is that when she looks away and looks back at him and she sees him as a corpse?
That's actually later.
A little bit later. Okay.
But the next thing is when the twins show up and say, "Hey, there's somebody with full-size candy bars 3 blocks over," and boom, Tommy's gone, and he's back, and he's got 2 candy bars.
Right, and that's when he's like, "Hey, you are a Maximum. Yeah, you got super speed."
Yeah, he's like, "What do I?" And so then he's like zooming all over the place, of course, and then Wanda just reaches out and grabs him.
Yeah,
and it's like if you're gonna break the sound barrier, at least take your brother.
Right.
Like, do I have to? Yes, you have to. And so they're going to take off, and she's like, don't go past Ellis Avenue. And they're like, we know, don't go past Ellis Avenue.
And so then later on, we see, like I said, Vision is continuing to explore stuff. He's seeing all this shit out there, and he's still trying to figure things out. And then he sees a car stopped.
Well, we go back to Darcy first, and she finds out, she hacks into Hayward's stuff and finds out that they're actually tracking Vision inside.
Yes.
By decaying vibranium signatures.
Right.
And they see him getting closer to the edge of town, and that's where we then go back in and see him do that. He sees people kind of frozen, and then he flies up in the air and looks around town, and then sees the one car just stopped.
Right. And it's Agnes.
Yes.
And she is stopped completely.
Dressed as a witch. And she's outside of, obviously too far away from Wanda's influence. So she's kind of starting to sense a little bit, kind of come into her own a little bit. And then he touches her forehead. Well, before that, he talks with her and he's like,
yeah,
Agnes, what are you doing out here? She's like, I made a wrong turn. I was looking for the town square something, the Halloween thing, pageant or whatever. She's like,
in the town you grew up in?
And she's like, I made a wrong turn and got lost. And he's like, in the town you grew up in? And then that's when he touches her and does basically the same thing he did to Norm, which is free her.
Right, exactly. And that's when she's, oh my God, you're the Vision. He says, yes.
You're an Avenger. Are you here to help us?
And he's, what's an Avenger?
Yeah.
And so that's when you're like, oh shit. Okay.
And then she starts to freak out and she's like grabbing. She doesn't have her pendant on either, her cameo.
Right.
That I saw. And but she starts reaching around. She's like, am I dead? And he's like, no, why would you be? She's like, because you are.
Right.
And he's like, what? And she's like, dead, dead, dead. And she just keeps repeating it and then starts cackling like a witch.
Like a witch. I think she's losing it. Yeah. And I think she's probably coming close to losing her mind. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I think anybody would if they were stuck in this situation. And
then he reaches out and touches her again and puts her back under.
And she pretty much then turns around and goes back to town, you know. It fucked me up, man. That was really rough, dude. You know, seeing that and seeing, I mean, it's honestly seeing how bad these people are or the things they're going through. It's really breaking my heart, you know, because I like Wanda. I like the Scarlet Witch and I liked her in the movies, and seeing this shit that she's putting these people through. I really, really, really hope that it is not completely her. That is,
I don't think it is because of some things that happen later. But real quick, we get back to Monica, and her and Darcy and Jimmy are in the server room basically, and Darcy's still going through stuff. Monica gets a text and says that her guy's going to be there in an hour. She has to meet him over the ridge.
Right.
It's her way back in.
And there's much speculation about this.
Oh yeah, and on who that is, and I'm really looking forward to seeing who that is, and hopefully the next episode. And then Darcy stops her. She's like, "No, you can't go back in."
Yeah.
And she's like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Hayward has your blood work." And she flips it around. She's like, "You've been through the anomaly twice.
It's changed.
It has rewritten your cells on a molecular level.
Yeah.
You're changing."
Or changed, at the very least.
Yeah. And they're like, and she's like, "Well, I have to go." And she's like, "Well, fine, I'm staying here. There's one more firewall that I have to break through. I think it's something big on the other side."
Yeah, exactly. It's and I truly believe this is where Monica's going to get her powers.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
And
hands down.
Question is, the big question is, what name is she going to use?
Right.
That's going to be the thing, you know.
Well, it's not going to be Captain Marvel, but it'll probably be Photon or Pulsar or something.
The one I know on Nerdist, they're betting Spectrum.
Spectrum could be Spectrum, but it could be Photon.
The guy that does it on the Nerdist was like, when I watched their show, he's like, the big question is, which one of approximately 36,000 names is she going to choose?
But anyway, yeah, she went through another.
Yeah. But then we go back inside, and that's when it's evening now, and Pietro and Wanda are walking into the town square, and he basically says, "I think Mom and Dad would have loved this place."
Yeah.
And he asks Wanda where she's been hiding all the kids up until now.
Right.
And she starts stammering about not doing that. You know, I didn't do that. Blah, blah.
I don't know where this came from. I don't know how it started.
He says he figures that they were all snuggled up in their beds, sleeping. No reason to traumatize them beyond the occasional Hollywood cameo or holiday cameo. And I mean, he's really throwing out all this stuff about what a fake world this is.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I said, you could tell he knows that there's something off.
And then he goes, "I'm actually really impressed with what you've done here." And she's like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You've done the best with what you with the ethical considerations you were faced with."
Yeah.
Families.
Yeah, he goes, "I'm impressed."
Families and couples have stayed together. Most personalities are close to what was lying underneath. People have better jobs.
Yeah, yeah. I like how he talked about at one point. He goes, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
this is way beyond moving things around and giving people nightmares with your wiggly woos or whatever he's called it. I think it was wiggly woos or something like that.
And then he asks how she did it, and she's like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
But she remembers feeling completely alone and having a feeling of endless nothingness. Which really, that's where it leads me to believe that someone else is pulling the strings. That someone else, that in her grief, someone else got to use her.
Yeah.
And that's where she sees zombie Pietro. Is she looks up and sees the bullet holes and him dead. And then he asks if she's okay, which is another thing that is a repeated thing in this episode.
Yes.
People keep asking her if she's okay.
Yeah. So then we see, and then I think this is around when the alarm goes off, right?
Not yet. Darcy finds the file first, which, interestingly enough, is called cataract, which blurs vision.
I never got that. That's pretty
and if you look at it, it says for eyes only, which cataracts affect the eyes. And so I thought that was kind of cute that it was for eyes only. But yeah, cataract is a fogging of the eyes. Then that's when Vision gets to the force field and forces his way through, which is a hell of a scene.
Oh my God, fighting his way through. And I said to Stella, I go, he's going to get through that. He's going to fall apart, because this is, I think she is the only thing that's keeping him alive.
And the thing is, he didn't just fall apart, because he was still, as they put it on the Nerdist, they were talking about it, and they said he's still within the sphere of influence.
Right.
He still belongs to the Hex, and he's still close enough, but the Hex was claiming him back a piece at a time. Mm-hmm, and they made a reference to some artwork from House of M, where they showed actually Wanda coming apart like that.
Yeah. She came apart like it was like cubed, and it came, that was how she kind of reassembled reality in like cubes, and it kind of kept brought it all together. Yeah.
But yeah, so they do that, and then Darcy comes out and basically says, why aren't you helping him? As you see him kind of dying, basically, right there. Mm-hmm, she gets handcuffed to the front of a Jeep. Cut to inside, and Billy's powers now manifest.
Right.
Of telepathy and telekinesis, and he stops his brother. And he's getting visions of Vision.
Right.
And he goes to find Mom and says, Dad's in trouble.
Right.
And she's like, where is he? And he's like, soldiers, blah, blah, blah. And then that's when we see things change.
Yeah.
Wanda,
oh my God.
Pietro says, actually, that's the thing. Pietro says something.
He really says, insensitive.
Don't sweat it, sis. It's not like your dead husband can die twice. And she turns around and blasts him.
Yeah. No, he doesn't die. He falls back. He flies back into
hay bales,
in a hay bales, and he's like, oh God.
Yeah.
But that was immediate. She didn't even fucking flinch or hesitate.
Oh yeah, she was pissed.
Boom.
And then she just flicks out her hands and her eyes glow, and everyone freezes.
Yep. And then you see the hexagon expand.
Yeah, she boom, and there's this big blast of red energy out of her, and then the hexagon starts expanding, and and Sword starts freaking out and
running
taking off and running, and those that are engulfed, including Darcy, who we don't get to see what happened to Darcy, but the Sword base becomes a circus. Right. And all of the Sword agents become the clowns that they are.
The clowns and the performers, and exactly. Like tanks and stuff, or not tanks, but like armored vehicles become like food trucks. And
it was
stuff like that.
What was it? Funnel of Love was the one I saw.
But so then that was crazy, man. It became this thing.
Yeah.
I said and you can see Darcy. Yeah, and you can see Darcy. She's no, it's like, and she winces and I said to Stella, I go, I can't wait to see what Darcy's going to be.
Yeah, me too.
She's going to be something.
The thing is, I think Darcy's going to be Darcy on the other side.
Probably. I think you're right. I think she's not going to be far off from what she really is, because, Quicksilver did say, like, people, their personalities seem to be kind of close to what they are and whatnot. But still, was she going to be a member of the circus? Is she going to be somebody in town visiting the circus? Is she going to, whatever? So.
But anyway, Hayward is running away in a thing, and the back of his truck gets caught by it a little bit, and he's calling out and realizes that nobody else can hear him, that there's nobody else left. It's just him and like his two lackeys. And
I think they got away too.
Yeah, they did. They got away because it stopped expanding. But the last thing we see,
and so did Jimmy and Monica.
Yes, Jimmy and Monica were away because they were going to meet her guy.
Right.
But it ends with seeing the Hex huge.
Yeah.
Now way up into the sky and just enormous, and then it goes over you see Wanda's eyes, just this like part of her face, and her eyes are closed, and they open up, they're glowing, and then they stop glowing, and it went to credits, and it wasn't sitcom credits like in the previous episodes.
Right.
It was just the end credits.
Right.
And I think what that is showing is that I think we're done with sitcoms now.
No, I know. I think we got one more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I was going to say because I think it's getting to the point where things are unraveling enough that her world isn't going to be. She's not going to be able to hold it together.
No, because I think we're going to see the 2000s, and we're going to see from what it looks like to me, from some of the images that I've seen, where Wanda is talking to the camera, kind of like Modern Family.
Okay.
And her hairstyle is much more of like a kind of a 90s kind of more modern hairstyle. Or 2000s, early 2000s.
The teens, maybe.
Well, yeah, I think it's more like, like 07, It's like I said, Modern Family just ended like 2 years ago, or a year ago. And that went I think that went like 12 seasons.
It's finally on Hulu, so I can watch it.
Yeah. I think that went 12 seasons or so. So that would have started right around the late, early aughts or the late aughts. So it's like maybe 10 years. I don't know. I can't remember.
CD said like Office.
Yeah, or like The Office. Exactly. So we're
2009 is the first episode, and 2020 was the last episode.
Okay, so yeah, so the early aughts or whatever, and then the Office started in the early aughts, the mid aughts, I think. So we're looking at I think we got at least one more sitcom, and then I think we might be getting in because there's 3 episodes left.
Yep.
We've got I think this last one will probably be the last of the sitcom-y shows, and then the final 2 episodes will be cleanup, essentially, figuring out, how they're going to end this and what's going on and stuff like that.
And how it's going to tie into Multiverse of Madness and
whatever else. Yeah. Now there's a lot of speculation, and we got to polish things up because it's a little after 10 now.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours again.
We're at 2 hours again. There's a lot of speculation as who the guy is that Monica is coming to pick up. Now, some people have said, well, maybe it's War Machine. Well, what's War Machine going to do? I mean, he's a guy in a
He's not an aerospace.
Right. He's not. He's a soldier. He was an Air Force, Colonel. And so probably not. My guess is it's going to be somebody that we haven't seen before. And it's probably going to be a character that is introducing new characters into the cinematic universe. People are speculating that it is going to be Reed Richards.
Yep.
Now they're speculating it's going to be Reed Richards before he becomes Mr. Fantastic. So I would be, and I think that's extremely likely. Now the other potential thing that we've seen was Adam Brashear, who becomes the Blue Marvel, who's a character called the Blue Marvel. He was a character that was created kind of retrofit into Marvel continuity and is in the comic books is Monica's love interest. And he's a superhero and he's extremely powerful and really cool character. But I don't think so. I don't think they're going to bring in Adam Brashear yet.
There's also
Mr. Fantastic.
There's also speculation that it's Victor Von Doom, which I don't.
I've heard that as well.
Which I don't think that's going to be the case.
No. They're not going to bring in Victor Von Doom until they bring in the Fantastic.
And I've seen things where people are referencing John Krasinski as Reed Richards.
There have been a lot of people that he has been one of the dream casting for Reed Richards is John Krasinski. I think he'd be great.
Speaking of The Office.
Yes, we got The Office. I think he'd be great. I think he's
great as Jack Ryan, and that's the thing. He's doing Jack Ryan right now, so I don't know. I don't know where they are with that.
He could do movies. I mean, it just depends on when the filming.
I actually really like the Jack Ryan show.
I haven't watched it yet. It's on my list. I hear it's pretty good.
It's really good,
and I like Krasinski. I think he's a pretty cool actor, and he's funny, and he's got a lot of range. He's gonna do a lot of stuff. So, needless to say, the show is not disappointing. It's continuing to be incredible and keep us guessing.
One of the other things that there's speculation about with the reason that they're tracking Vision through the vibranium decay and the reason that they had Vision in the first place is that all that stuff that Sword was building when Monica was walking through there, that those are Sentinels that they're building.
Oh.
That's okay. They're going to introduce the Sentinels, and that
I believe I saw something.
And with as much as Hayward hates supers, I can totally see that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I think they're trying. At first, they were trying to make him look like. Well, when they first introduced him, they're like, well, he's just the guy that he's the guy in charge, and it should have been Monica, but he's the guy, whatever. And they were trying to make him out like he's not this bad guy. And at first he even was like, he seemed to be, he's trying to help. He was at least trying to gather information. But when he tried to, blow Wanda out of the fucking sky or out of the, off the earth, that was when he showed some of his true colors. And then in this previous episode, when he's like, you don't understand. Yeah. You don't know what we had to do to keep the lights on, to do the decisions we had to make. Then it made me go, oh, okay, wait, now they're trying to build sympathy for this character. They're trying to show us that this guy has been through some shit and he's scared and he doesn't know what to expect out of this woman. So
the fact that maybe
it's justified.
And the fact that he tried using a Stark drone to kill Wanda, that's another thing.
Ooh. So, needless to say, this guy's got. I'm appreciating that they're. Yes, he's a villain, or yes, he's not a villain. He's a kind of the bad guy, or kind of a bad guy in this situation. But he's also one that's got a lot of reason to be fucking scared.
I think they're setting him up to be somebody that we see later in other things.
Yeah, I think so too. Excuse me.
But I think we should wrap things up.
We should wrap things up. Guys, thanks for tuning in and checking us out
and staying for the 2 hours. For
the extra long WandaVision tear apart.
Yeah.
And we got 3 more of these guys. So we'll try and get it back down to 90 minutes again. It's just, there was a lot to talk about this week.
We just got to stop talking about other stuff.
Yeah. Exactly. So what are you drinking? WandaVision.
Yeah. We gotta leave we gotta stop talking like politics and stuff like that for the first 45 minutes.
Well, I think
cut down our stuff about the week.
Yeah. Thankfully, here's hoping there's not much in the way of politics.
Well, I'm glad you love it, CD. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, man. So guys, I'll be sure to check us out, listen to us, and download us, and all the places you can find quality podcasting. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on iTunes, the Google Play Store. We're on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, radio.com, and of course, you can download and stream all of our episodes on nerdswithalcoholshow.com every 8 o'clock live on Twitch on Drinking Nerds, and a couple days later on YouTube on Drinking Nerds as well.
Yeah, and you can follow us on most of the social medias. We're on Facebook, Nerds with Alcohol Show. We're on Twitter at Drinking Nerds, Instagram Drinking Nerds, and we are on the Untapped app, Drinking Nerds. Just send us a friend request, and we'll get you added.
Exactly. So, but thanks again, and Chris, stay warm.
Yes.
It's gonna be super cold for another couple of days.
Yeah, at least I don't have to commute. At least that's the nice thing.
There you go. And so it's going to be super cold for the next couple of days.
Yeah, this Friday we're not doing Tavern Nights. I'm going to be trying. I'm on call, so it's a crapshoot on whether or not I can get on. But if I can, I will be on playing some Mech Warrior, probably 5:30 to 6:30 ish. I could probably do it later if I wanted to. But it's just about an hour that I get on and just play some Mech Warrior and BS and do the Friday night firefight, and then Sunday mornings I'm doing Star Wars, doing the bounty hunter mission.
Monday we're gonna try another
Tavern talk. Yep, Monday we're gonna try and do another Tavern talk to where
we talked about the
last episode. So
roughly 9 o'clock, about an hour talk. Excuse me, 8:30 on
8:30 on
this channel. It'll be Chris and I, and honestly whoever else from the show from Tavern Talk that can come on and talk about the game and talk about the fun we're having and talk about some other D&D stuff.
Yeah, I want to kind of get into some stuff in Tasha's this week, just so we can start talking that. So
cool. Sounds good. All right.
Well, I think on that note. Until next time.
Sláinte. Oh, that was pretty good.
That was actually a quiet one, but it was pretty good.
But it resonated.
Yes. All right. Have a good week, everybody.
Good night.